Oh, it's time for Christmas. Oh, it's time for us. Oh, it's time for Christmas. Don't you know? Oh, it's time for Christmas. Oh, it's time for us. Oh, it's time for Christmas. Don't you know? 365 chances of the year to try to make it right. You have to see it clear.
Happy Vlogmas, you all. Today is December 1st, and so I bought an advent calendar, and so for December 1st what they show is and mine is of chocolate, and so what they show first is a little chocolate stocking. And so the legend of the Christmas stocking, what's behind the holiday tradition of hanging hosiery on the fireplace? Because that's what originally that's what it was, kids' socks. So what it says is that Christmas stockings made by a gentleman of German heritage, there are some shown here, but the stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. That was from a visit with St. Nicholas. So let's see what it says. As far back as 1823, when Clement Clark Moore, or possibly Henry Livingston Jr., wrote A Visit from St. Nicholas, stockings were hung near the fireplace, awaiting a visit from Santa Claus. At the end of the poem, St. Nick filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney, he rose. Stockings have been an essential part of the Christmas tradition for centuries, except briefly in the mid-1800s when the New York Times wrote that Christmas trees almost completely supplanted them as a tradition of choice. The most popular legend about why stockings are hung at Christmas goes something like this. A recently widowed man and father of 3 girls was having a tough time making ends meet. Even though his daughters were beautiful, he worried that their impoverished status would make it impossible for them to marry. St. Nicholas was wandering through the town where the man lived and heard villagers discussing that family's plight. He wanted to help, but knew the man would refuse any kind of charity directly. Instead, one night, he slid down the chimney of the family's house and filled the girls' recently laundered stockings, which happened to be drying by the fire, with gold coins, and then he disappeared. The girls awoke in the morning, overjoyed upon discovering the bounty. Because of St. Nick's generosity, the daughters were now eligible to wed, and their father could rest easy that they wouldn't fall into lonely despair. Whew! While obviously far-fetched, this tale of unknown origin and date is most widely referenced when it comes to the history of the Christmas stocking. Wow. Have you ever heard that story? Did you know? I surely didn't. For others, it has meant a personalized, decorated, maybe even handmade, foot-shaped bag hung year after year. And sometimes it means not hanging the stocking by a fireplace at all. Whichever stocking setup you prefer, there's one more related factoid that'll impress guests during your holiday party. Oranges tend to wind up in Christmas stockings, right? Ever wonder why? Some say it's from a time when fresh fruit was more difficult to come by, and finding an orange in your stocking was a huge treat. But a different version of that beautiful daughter's distraught father legend swaps the gold coins left by St. Nick with 3 gold balls left in each stocking. Understandably, the solid gold balls tradition isn't so easy to replicate. That's why their citrus lookalikes have found their way into stockings alongside chokes and baubles, but hopefully not coal. Man, woman, child with baby socks, stocking, and trouser sock hung by the chimney in the backgrounds in the 1940s. If you celebrate Christmas, what's your stocking of choice? A tube sock? A silk stocking? To traditional red and white variety, or something else completely? Happy holidays, you all. A lesson about the Christmas stocking. Be
Oh, it's time for Christmas. Oh, it's time for us. Oh, it's time for Christmas. Don't you know? Oh, it's time for Christmas. Oh, it's time for us. Oh, it's time for Christmas. Don't you know? 365 chances of the year to try to make it right. You have to see it clear.